Culture Uncut. This is Culture Uncut. This is Culture Uncut. I am your host, Jason Spears, and Colt fans, we've got a lot to talk about. This is Culture Uncut. I am your host, Jason Spears, and folks, Colts fans, it's been a very long time since I've checked in with you guys. Lots of life stuff happening, and you know how it goes, but I'm here now, and I'm ready to talk Colts, and lots going on with our team, our favorite team. First off, let me say, I never thought we would be in this position that we're in right now, and I couldn't be happier. This fan base deserves this and deserves to be in the place that the Colts are in right now, based on the hell that has been since Andrew Luck retired and you know, even before that. I mean, we haven't won the division since 2014, and we are still, well, actually now the Broncos are currently technically atop the AFC for the number 1 seed, so we're number 2 now, but we get a chance to go out to Berlin this Sunday and take on the Falcons, so hopefully get back to 8-2 and take back the number 1 seed headed into the bye week. So the Colts are at a good spot. But I wanted to hop on here. I know a lot of you guys wanted me to start doing this again, and I'm going to try. Certainly, you know, a lot of people wanted to hear my reaction to the trade. I think my initial reaction on X was taken out of context, or maybe I didn't explain it well enough. But so on today's show, I am going to go through the trade, break that down, how I think it affects the Colts going forward, and then I'm going to talk about the Pittsburgh game, which was a tough one, but not the end of the world in my opinion, and then kind of where we stand now and my thoughts on the overall season, because I really haven't given that verbally to you guys, so kind of go over that, and then we'll look at the Falcons and really the rest of the year going forward. So as I've told you guys on Twitter, the Colts have talked to a lot of teams, and we're talking to a lot of teams about different players, whether that's Wolin from Seattle or Hendrickson from Cincinnati. They were in on Logan Wilson. They were talking to a lot of different teams about corner, Alontae Taylor from the Saints, corner and edge, and this thing with Sauce, I don't think really started to gain traction until maybe 2 weeks ago, where they Ballard reached out and just talked to, I think, Moji is how you say his name, the GM for the Jets. Anyway, they started talking. Obviously, the Colts were, you know, they were looking at more Band-Aid type things to kind of get us through this year. And then that opportunity presented itself with Moji being open to it. And of course, then once that was made clear to Ballard, he went back. Actually, I think it was Ed Dodds that initially reached out, and then that was brought to Ballard, and then Ballard brought it to Carly. They talked about it, and they made the move. And as somebody that loves my picks just as much as Chris Ballard, when I first heard the trade numbers for Sauce, my initial reaction was I was thinking like these are going to be top 15 picks. So I'm like, man, that's kind of steep. But then I thought about it. I'm like, well, if we keep playing like this, and then we bring most everybody back next year, these are going to be back-end first-round picks. And Chris really hasn't done a great job in the first round. I think he's like 50%. So, and then obviously you give up A.D. Mitchell, who really doesn't have a spot on the Colts. I mean, he was relegated essentially to wide receiver 5. So, you know, your starters going forward at receiver are going to be obviously Pitt, Pierce, who we will re-sign, and obviously Josh Downs. AD's not he's not going to start. He's not going to play a lot. And you got Doolin and Gould and Treadwell and whoever else, all guys that I actually trust more than I trust A.D. Mitchell because I can only go on what he's shown me, and he's shown me I can't trust him. So he was added to the trade, and I think that's good for him. He needed to change his scenery. So after like taking a beat to think about it, I'm like, no, this is a great move because really, the Colts aren't going to get a player the caliber of Sauce and the next two drafts, and also like as bad as everyone in New York is saying he's playing, he has not played that bad. He's better than anyone we have not named Mooney. He's playing that level right now, not named Mooney. So and you see what happens when guys escape from New York, whether that be Sam Darnold or Daniel Jones or anyone else. I'm sure there's a million other examples. I mean, Saquon. Guys they get out of there and they start playing better. I hope that is what happens with Sauce. I think it will be. I think the Mooney-Sauce combo at outside cornerback, I think they play off each other well. I think Sauce is a much better zone corner than people give him credit for. People talk about he's a press man guy and all that, but he has really good eyes, really good instincts, and that's what you need to play zone. So I think this is a great trade for the Colts, and I think it will help, going against these high-powered offenses where you've seen, for instance, in the Rams game, Nakua ate us alive because we had nothing. We didn't have anything to stop. We had Xavier Rhodes and I guess Mekhi Blackman, and that's it. So they went to him all game, and that was the difference in the game. We had no answer for him. Now we have an answer. It's like you pick your poison. You want to go at Mooney, or do you want to go at Sauce, or do you want to go at Kenny? If those three guys are on the field, and then also it allows Jalen Jones to be cornerback 4, who is immensely played really good football. Mekhi Blackman, who's got a lot of experience, is a solid player, be cornerback 5. And then either Mike Hilton or Chris Lamons. If Mike Hilton comes back, I would think he'd be your second nickel. And if not, Chris Lamons. That is a deep cornerback room. And I think we have the best cornerback room in the NFL right now, and one of the best secondaries, easily top 5, maybe top 3, maybe number 1. With everybody clicking, because Nick Cross and Cam Bynum are very good players. So I love this trade for the Colts. It shows that Chris Ballard is flexible, and he has completely changed his approach to how he attacks now. Like before, it was more of a wait and see. We'll see what our deficiencies. Now he's attacking deficiencies. Like he's been so much more aggressive in the way that he has when at free agency and when at the trade deadline. And these are all really, really good things. It shows that a person that's been very rigid for the first 8 years of his career can turn over a new leaf and change and be more flexible. And I think that's a big, big statement and a big step for him. It's also a credit to Carly and the girls. I think that their influence has been nothing but positive, and when Chris wanted to make this deal, they were all for it. They were all for it, and I think that's great for us. I think they're going to do everything in their power to bring a championship to the state of Indiana and to the city of Indianapolis. So I couldn't be more excited about seeing that number 1 out there on Sunday in Berlin. Hopefully, tracking Drake London all day and giving him the business. So I think it's a win-win for both teams. I think the Jets did an outstanding job. I know this isn't a Jets podcast, but I think they did an outstanding job of acquiring assets. They've won one game. They're going nowhere. They get, I think they got a second and a first for Quinnen. They got 2 firsts for Sauce, plus, Mozzie Smith from Dallas, who was a first-round miss, and also AD from us, who's uberly talented. He's just, for whatever reason, just did not work out in Indy. I think those are 2 huge opportunities for those players, but all that draft capital, that's how you properly break down a team and rebuild a team. Now, for them, they have to hope they have the right GM and the right, scouts in place to pick the right players to fit their program. But I hope it works out for them. I have nothing against the Jets. I think, like I said, the best trades are when when they work out for both teams. So hopefully this trade helps them, restock their system and become a viable team in that division. And hopefully this trade gets us to a couple of Super Bowls. You never know. I mean, it's very difficult to win in this league if you don't have elite cornerback play, and we certainly, I think, have acquired that to go with Mooney, who was playing as good as any Colts corner I can remember since maybe Vontae Davis. God bless the dead. So really pumped about it, man, and hopefully we'll see everybody in Kansas City when we get back from the bye. I think that'll be a great test, a great litmus test for the entire team. And, just the schedule going forward is going to be a great litmus test because you've got Kansas City, then you have Jacksonville, who always plays us tough. That's always divisional games are always tough. They're usually one-score games. Then I think then we have Houston at home, and Houston has a legit top 3 defense. It's Denver good. They're good at all 3 levels. They have great pass rush. They have, sideline to sideline linebackers that make plays and they hit. And then they've got a really, really great secondary. Petrie's an outstanding player. So my point is we're going to get tested, and that's what you want. You want to get tested to see where you're at. And we've got those 4 games against Jacksonville and Houston. Then you go out to Seattle. Again, Darnold playing his ass off. Great offense. Great receiver out there. That's going to be a test for our defense, and it's in December, so it's going to be cold. Be a great test. Then we come home, and I think we have San Francisco. And then we finish the season by going to Houston. So this last 7 games after the Atlanta game is going to be a gauntlet, and that's the way it should be. If we want to get to where we need to be, we've got to beat these teams, and I'm excited to see how it all turns out. Just kind of reviewing the Pittsburgh game. Yeah, I mean, it was a tough game. Look, anytime we play in Pittsburgh, I don't think we're going to win. I've been alive for 48 years. I've seen 1 win in Pittsburgh. They are 1 and I think 17 since I've been alive. The lone win being a last-minute touchdown pass to Dominic Rhodes in 2008 to win. Other than that, anything and everything goes wrong when we play in that stadium or in that city. I told Luke before the game, I said, we're going to lose this game on the longest field goal kick ever made in that stadium. That's how I thought we were going to lose. No. We decided to do it differently. We decided to turn it over 6 times and still only somehow lose by 7. Usually when you turn it over six times, you lose like 40-7. So I don't know what to make of that. I think our defense played outstanding. Our offense just could not hold on to the ball. Uncharacteristic mistakes by guys like Josh Downs, and our offensive line had a rough game. And give Pittsburgh credit, man. They won the line of scrimmage. They played better. They coached better. It is what it is. It's 1 game. But it's not something where I'm the type of person that's like, I go on what I've seen. And I've seen an elite offense for, 7 out of 9 games. I mean, the Ram game, I don't know if you'd say it was elite because we only had 20, but if AD doesn't screw up the 1 touchdown or get a holding call on the other touchdown, it's just so they really have had 1 bad game, really 1 bad game, and I choose to look at the other evidence that's mounting that this is a really great offense, a historically great offense through the first 8 games. And then the 9th game just was a horrible game. I mean, we just did not block Watt. We didn't block Highsmith. Our tackles were bad. Really, everybody kind of struggled on the offensive line. I didn't think Steichen called a very good game. I think we gave up on the run too quickly. And I think we put way too much on Daniel Jones throwing that much. There's no circumstance where I want him throwing the ball 50 times. And when a team's penning their ears back and really, run blitzing you and just blitzing all the time, you've got to back those guys off with like some screens, some quick hitters, and we didn't do any of that. So I just thought it was a poorly coached game. I thought Tomlin and Terrell Austin outcoached Shane Steichen in that game, and their players outplayed our players, and they had a good game plan for us. They moved Jalen Ramsey to free safety. It allowed them to do some different things. And, give them hats off to them. They needed that game. They wanted that game, and they got it. And we didn't. And it sucks to lose to the Steelers. I hope we see them again, but in Indy, because I think we're the far superior team. But on that day, last Sunday, they were better, and that's the way it goes. You watch the film on Monday, you make the corrections, and you move on. So we're on to Atlanta. So those are my thoughts on the Pittsburgh game. I thought there were plays there to be made, but they just when you turn the ball over 6 times, you're not beating anybody. I thought the difference in the game, probably the game-changing play, was the T.J. Watt sack, fumble, recovery. Great player, made a great play, changed the game. I think we were going in to score there. Then they turn around and they go tie the game, and it was 10 set. Then they got a field goal off another turnover. I think 24 of their 27 points were off our mistakes or plays that they made, however you want to look at it. And so obviously the key going forward is you can't have games where you turn the ball over 6 times. There's just no way you're going to beat average teams, let alone good teams, doing that. So I think we all know that. We all saw that. I do believe that they did get away from Taylor too early. No, he wasn't running really well. No, there weren't a lot of holes. But like I said to somebody the other day, Jonathan Taylor could be having a game where he's rushed the ball 15 times for 45 yards, and then you look up at the stat sheet, and the next time you see it, it's 17 for 120 because he breaks off two long runs. Those runs will come, but you have to give him the opportunity, and I did think we got a little bit away from that. And we're just throwing too much. And when you throw that much, bad things are going to happen, especially when you've had sort of the luck that we've had up until that point. Knocking balls up in the air, getting intercepted, making poor reads, those type of things. That's going to happen when you throw the ball 50 times. And also, they were just pinning their ears back against our O-line. They were whipping us. They whipped Braden. They whipped... They really just dominated the line of scrimmage, and you give them credit. I knew that was going to be an issue. It always is, because the Colts are used to playing against 4-3 teams, and Steelers are more of a 3-4 team. It's an adjustment. I always remember Peyton having issues with Pittsburgh for the same reason. Being used to going against a 4-3 style defense 90% of the time, then you get a 3-4 with elite players everywhere. It's a different animal. So, it's a tough loss, but it's only one. We're still 7-2 and a half game back of Denver. If we can get this win in Berlin on Sunday, we'll be atop the AFC conference headed into the bye week, which is somewhere I never thought we would be. So really excited about that. So where do we stand now? Well, first of all, in my thoughts on the season, so we're 7-2. We're in a good place. We've got, I think, a game, and I think we're 7-2, and the Jags are 5-3. So those 2 games with them will be tough. I know they're going to Houston this week, and Houston will not have 7 out there. So Stroud. So that's going to be a tough game for Houston. But their defense is elite, so I expect it to be close. So we've still, I think we're 1.5 games ahead of them, 7-2. They're 5-3, probably 6-3, and be 1 back. And then we go to Kansas City, and then we have Jacksonville. Those 4 divisional games are the most important games of our season, in my opinion. We have to come out of there 3-1, maybe 4-0, because those games will decide a division, in my opinion. The Kansas City, Seattle, San Francisco games are good, for measuring where we're at, but those divisional games are the most important, and they always will be. So I like that they're on the back half of the schedule. Usually we play them early, those divisional games, and it's usually we're flat. This is the year where we didn't come out flat. We started fast, and we're out to a really great start. But traditionally in the last, 6 years, since 17, right, or 16, other than I think the 19 we started 5-2, and then Jacoby got hurt. Outside of that, we generally come out flat, and then we're playing divisional games in the first 4 or 5 divisional games in the first 9 weeks. So I was glad to see it's on the back half this year, and so I think that'll be important. Those 4 games will be super important to win in the division, which is my focus. I know a lot of people are focused on getting the number one seed. That will all take care of itself. I want to win the division. We haven't won the division since 2014. That is 11 years. It's time. We need to win the division. You win the division, you guarantee yourself a home game, and you go from there. You get in the tournament, and if you got a defense and a running game, that travels, right? And we have both. I think our defense is going to get better. I think we're going to get some guys back, hopefully. So I like where we're at, man. I like the team. I like the camaraderie. I like the vibes around the team. Even coming off a loss, I still feel really good about where we're at. I mean, the way the season has kind of gone, nobody really knew what to expect. I mean, we came out, we smoked the Dolphins, and you really don't know what to make of that because it's the Dolphins. So then it's like, okay, well, what's next? And then you come out next week and probably should have lost the game to Denver, but that's the first time I kind of took note and said, the season might be different the way, because that game ended and we ended up winning, and Denver is a top 3 defense any way you cut it. They get after the quarterback. They blitzed us a ton in that game, and DJ played his ass off. I thought one of his best performances of the year when you consider who they were playing. JT was great. Just an outstanding win over Denver, one that could come back to haunt Denver if it's a tiebreaker situation. And then we go on the road to, then we went on the road to Tennessee, smoked them. I knew that was going to be a game where, as long as we didn't give Ward any confidence, and we immediately took that away. Kenny Moore jumps out for a pick six, and that game was pretty much over right then. I mean, I think we ended up winning 41-20, but it wasn't really even that close. So then the first test was the Rams game, and I thought the Colts battled their ass off, played well. There were things we did in that game to beat ourselves. Obviously, there's the 2 A.D. Mitchell plays that really hurt us. Obviously, the catch, which was an outstanding play by him. But you can't lay the ball on the ground at the 1 yard line trying to celebrate. You run through the end zone, celebrate after. No need to even harp on that. It is what it is. I feel like it was a big reason we lost that game. But the thing that I liked about this team was right after that happened, they came back home and immediately, destroyed. I think it was the Raiders, 40-6, and I'm trying to think, who did we play? So the Raiders, and then I think we went back to LA to play the Chargers again, and that was the game where I was like, all right, we're going to see what we're made of. And the Colts really dominated from beginning to end. I mean, it was a shootout. Defense didn't play particularly well, but they did just enough. And the offense was just the offense. Just went up and down the field, dominated. Just outstanding play. And, they exercised the demons of what had happened with the Rams in that stadium. Again, DJ was really good. The running game was really good. JT was really good. O-line was good. So those 2 games over Denver and the Chargers are really huge because they showed me, okay, we can play with anybody, but also in the past years, we would have lost those games so that if we were looking at a tiebreaker situation, we would immediately lose those games and lose the tiebreaker. Like, for instance, last year we go into Denver, we have a 10-0 lead, we piss the game away, they immediately get the tiebreaker over us because of what we did. So this year we have the tiebreakers over Denver and the Chargers, which is great. We did not get the win over Pittsburgh, which sucks, but hopefully we'll win the division and move forward. But my biggest thing with this team is every bad team they've played, they've stomped out. Destroyed. You look at Miami, we beat them, I think, 31-8. Then you go into Tennessee, you beat them by 21. Then you play the Raiders, you beat them 40-6. I mean, our starters were out in the fourth quarter. Then Tennessee again, you blow them out. I'm trying to think if I'm leaving anybody out. And then we had the loss to the Rams, the loss to the Steelers. And then the win over the Chargers. I wouldn't really look at that as a blowout. They were chasing the whole game though. But my point is the point differential with this team just shows you how dominant they are when they play inferior teams, and that's what you're supposed to do. The Colts in the past few years, when they play inferior teams, would either lose, like for instance the Giants game last year. They had no business losing that game, and not only did they lose it, they got embarrassed by a backup quarterback and a bunch of guys. Like Malik Neighbors won the game single-handedly for him. And we had to have that game. And that's the difference between this team and that team. This team's attitude against a team like that would be, let's win this shit by 30 points. Last year, I don't know what their attitude was. But I think a lot of that has to do with the new ownership, the new defensive staff, the overall attitude of the team had to improve. And, of course, adding Daniel Jones to the roster has certainly paid big dividends. I can't say enough about him. He is a very boring interview, but the guy just goes out there and does what he's supposed to do, and I'm really happy to have him in Indianapolis. If you would have told me all this was going to happen, I would have told you have a serious drug problem, because I envisioned a 4-13 year. I did not see Daniel Jones being this good, even after the he had 5 turnovers and Downs had the 1. But even after the last game where he had so many turnovers, I'm so impressed by him. Steichen's done a really good job with him. So, yeah, man, it's fun to be a Colt fan right now. It's a lot of great vibes, and we add Sauce to the mix of this thing we're cooking up, and hopefully we can make a run. I don't see any reason why not. The AFC's kind of all over the place this year. I still don't think the Ravens are out of the AFC North division race. I think they are absolutely better than Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh is overrated, even though we lost to them. And I think I'm not even sure Pittsburgh ends up making the playoffs. I definitely think Baltimore's going to catch them, even though they're 3-5 and Pittsburgh's I think 5-3 or whatever. They've got to play each other twice, and the Steelers have a much tougher schedule going down the stretch. And if Lamar's Lamar, I think they end up winning that division. So there's that. And I would love to see Pittsburgh again come into our building. I think the results would be much different. And I think most of the people listening to this would agree with me. So now we head into this week against the Falcons, who are a very odd team. I've seen them get absolutely blown out by the Carolina Panthers. I've seen them beat the Buffalo Bills. All I can tell you is they have really good offensive players and really good defensive players, and they have games where they look like they're a playoff team, and then they have other games where they look like they're a bottom feeder team. All I can do is expect that we're going to get their best. They know we're playing. There's not going to be like a let up in them. They know they're playing a really good team, and they have to show up and play well. And I think I think they're one of those teams that kind of plays to the level of who they're playing. So I expect a tough game. I expect them to try to get the ball to Robinson as much as possible, especially with Buckner missing this week with a neck injury. I think that's going to be their game plan, to try to get the ball in the hands of Robinson, Pitts, and also Drake London, although that will be made a little tougher this week because we got a guy named Sauce Gardner out there on him. So, but I expect this to be a tough game. Their defense is solid. In the times that I've seen them play, Josh Allen had a little bit of trouble with them, so I expect them to be stout. I'm sure they're going to look at the Pittsburgh film and try to use some of those blueprints that Pittsburgh used to attack our offense, and I'm sure Shane is in the lab trying to get this offense right. So it's going to be an interesting game. Those games overseas are always odd, man. You never know what to make of them. I look at they remind me of Thursday night games. You just never know what you're going to get. Like, for instance, tonight, Denver damn near lost to the Raiders at home. Then you see Denver go over and play the Jets, and they damn near lose that game. So I'm not super overconfident, like, oh, yeah, this is in the bag. I'm not that confident. I know we're favored, I think, by 5 or 6 or something. I don't care about any of that. My bottom line is just go in there, find a way to win. I don't care if it's pretty. I don't care if it's ugly. Let's just get to this bye 8-2, and then, with 7 to go and be leading the AFC. That's all I want. That's all I care about. Hopefully get out of the game injury-free. So that's the focus going forward. Obviously, you're going to take it one game at a time and try to, find the wrinkles you need to find each week to beat these teams. But I will say this, Lou having elite talent on this roster, especially in the secondary, is going to allow him to do so much more. You're going to see so much more exotic blitzes, so much more run blitzes, pass blitzes, because he's going to have, especially after Mooney Ward comes, I wouldn't say this week, but when Mooney Ward comes back and you've got Kenny and you got Mooney and then you got Sauce, you can do so, because you're basically got two press corners that can essentially be left on an island, so you can play a lot of single high and bring run blitzes and all kinds of different things and give different looks because you've got such elite corner talent. So that excites me. I cannot wait to see, because he will dial it up. He's done some great things moving guys around, lining Buckner up in a 2-point stance and having him rush, and he's really, the thing I liked about Lou, and I preached about this when we hired him, and I told you guys, his game plans are going to be different every week for every team. He's going to mix and match what he thinks will work best, and you're going to see a different version of Colts defense almost every week because of the teams that we're playing. And I think you've seen that up to this point. He's done a lot of different things and things that we haven't seen here in a long time. And I just think he's doing a hell of a job with the defense. I think he's probably the best coordinator we've had here, idea-wise and just flexibility-wise, since maybe, Jim Johnson. I mean, that's even before Dungy, because Dungy just played his staple defense and basically kept things in front of him and let the offense win the games. And this defense is more like a Jim Johnson defense where guys are moving all over the place. You're getting different looks, you're getting zone blitzes, you're getting all kinds of different things that we haven't seen here in years. So I'm really happy to have Lou. I hope we have him for more than this year, but I'll be honest with you, I think we're going to continue to get better defensively, and I think he's already on people's short list for head coaching candidates, and I think he's probably going to get some interviews. Selfishly, I hope we can keep him for one more year, maybe coach, so he could coach up a guy that's on his staff to maybe take over when he leaves so we can have a seamless transition. But beggars can't be choosers. He's going to do his thing, and if this is the only year we get him, we were lucky to have him for this 1 year. So, but just looking at the rest of the schedule, like I mentioned, guys, it's kind of a gauntlet. We're going to get good defenses, good quarterbacks. I like the tests. I like going to Kansas City against Mahomes in a hostile environment in November. I like going to Seattle in December when it's freezing against a good quarterback playing out of his mind. With that, that overall team, I think that's one of the best put together teams on both sides of the ball in the NFL. So that'll be a great test in December. And then you've got your San Francisco game at home, which I think, we play better at home. Obviously San Francisco is a tough matchup for anybody, but I like us in that game. Those 4 games in division are going to tell the tale if we're going to win this division or not. If we go 3-1 or 4-0, we're winning the division. 2-2, we could be in some trouble, especially if it's 2 losses to the Jags. We have to figure out a way to go 3-1 and find a way to get to 4-2 in the division, or 5-1 in the division, or even 6-0 in the division. Those are the games that mean the most to me because they count twice. And I'm always worried about teams with elite defenses. And, Houston, I've watched them. They're stacked everywhere. D-line, outside, they've got a pair of elite pass rushers. Their linebackers are physical as hell, corner to corner, sideline to sideline, and they're good in coverage. And there's just not a lot of weak spots. You got Stingley out there, Petrie out there, the kid from USC. So there's all kinds of really, really talented players on Houston. So those are going to be tough games because they bring their defense everywhere. So that's where I'm at right now, guys. I never thought we would be 7-2 and sitting in this position. I never thought Daniel Jones would be playing like he's playing. I think Jonathan Taylor's continued evolution is one of the most underrated stories of the year in terms of everybody knew he was an elite runner. He's even better this year, but catching the ball out of the backfield, making the right read on blitzes and picking up blitzes has been outstanding this year. He clearly made it a point to improve those areas of his game so he could be a 3-down back, and he's done it. He's outstanding in every facet of the game now. He takes care of the ball. He catches it out of the backfield. His vision, his jump cuts, his slipperiness when getting through small slivers of space is as good as it's ever been. His vision isn't impeccable. We're just lucky to have him. He's a special player, a great guy, and clearly somebody that was focused on getting better this offseason and absolutely did that. So shout out to him for all the hard work he's put in. I'm so glad to see that he evolved, because really, the only weaknesses he had were pass blocking and catch, so we'd have to take him off the field on third down, which is a key when you take off your best player on a certain play is a key to the defense. Like, okay, they're not running, they're throwing for sure. Now we don't take him off the field unless he wants to come off the field. And shout out to Amir Abdullah. He's done a really nice job picking up for Tyler Goodson and DJ Giddens, who I think has really struggled. I don't think DJ Giddens has really picked up the offense. He looked lost out there where he played. I think the pickup of Abdullah was a really low-key, solid pickup by Chris Ballard. I thought and think he's looked outstanding, and I think he can help this team, certainly in the passing game and certainly on special teams. We've seen him, especially in the Chargers game, make a great run back. I think it was 80 yards to get momentum back on our side in that game. So, we basically have two kind of, guys that are similar in Abdullah and Goodson. Goodson hasn't really been healthy, so I like the pickup of Abdullah. I think he can do everything you need, a player to do to be able to play that position. So that was a low-key good pickup by Ballard, and a vet with all his experience can certainly help younger players. So love where we're at. Love and big shout out to the girls, man. They're doing their dad proud right now. The way the season's been, the way they've gone out and got guys and allowed Ballard to do things that maybe we wouldn't have done in the past, and attack free agency and all those things, all great things. Can't say enough about them. You are what your leadership is, and it trickles downhill, and it feels like this is just a different team than we've seen in a long time. I mean, it's just a different team. Losses don't bother them. They come right back. They're fighters. They fought as bad as they were in Pittsburgh. They fought 60 minutes. They tried to win that game, and they were horrible in that game. That they never quit. You will not. I can say this. You will not see a performance from this 2025 Colt team like you saw in New York in that Giants game last year. Not this year from this squad. They're going to fight their ass off till there's no time on the clock, win or lose. That's the way this team's built, and I'm excited, man. I'm pumped. Haven't been this excited about the Colts in a long time, because I see the vision. I really believe this team can make it to a Super Bowl. I know there are a lot of people that don't. They still don't believe in Daniel Jones. Maybe not outside our fan base, or maybe not inside our fan base. I've heard a lot of the talk outside our fan base. Oh, Daniel Jones came back to being Daniel Jones. He had one bad game. Well, we'll see what he does the rest of the season, but like I said, defense and running game travels in the playoffs, and our defense is going to get better, I promise you. So, and our running game is good. We had one bad game, and I think we got away from it too early, and I think Shane will learn from that. You got to get the ball in his hands other ways. It can't always be handoffs. You can throw him screens, you can throw him check downs, whatever, but you got to get the ball in 28's hands. He's your best player on offense, and we have a lot of really good ones. So I hope everyone out there in Colts Nation is enjoying this season and doing well. One final thing before I jump off here, I want to send my condolences to the family and friends of Marshawn Nealon, the edge player from the Dallas Cowboys, who tragically took his own life earlier this week. It's a really, really sad story, and it shows why mental health is so important, and people should talk to people, check on people consistently, because you just never know what somebody is going through. The Cowboys organization and just all of his teammates and family and friends are definitely in my thoughts, and it's just a horrible thing. I know we've lost some players throughout the years with the Colts, um, and it's never easy. And I just wish those guys all the strength. It's too bad they have a bye this week because this would probably be easier if all those guys were together, but they're not. So it's gonna be tough. But I hope those guys make it through okay. And as somebody that's dealt with mental health issues my whole life, and I think it's super important that if you're feeling a certain way, reach out and talk to somebody, whether it's somebody on a hotline, a friend, whatever. Just talk. Talking makes getting stuff off your chest will make you feel better, and if it doesn't, then maybe you need to maybe impatient or something like that. But just a reminder that this is all just a game. A young man took his own life at 24 years old, and that's just sad. And I just wanted to end the show. I know it's a somber way to end it, but it's also a reminder of what your priorities in life should be. Take care of yourself, take care of your loved ones, check on them, make sure they're doing okay. At the end of the day, man, we all love football. I eat, sleep, drink football. I love it, but it's just a game at the end of the day. Like, what really matters in life is your relationships with people and your loved ones and your family. So I guess that'd be a thought I'd leave you guys with. A somber way to end, but I wanted to acknowledge the loss of life. It's always sad when you see a young person take their life, and it was really hard to hear about and hard to read because, I remember studying him when he was coming out of Western Michigan, and he seemed like a really great kid. And he had just blocked a punt the other night, so it's just, man, you just never know. So with that, rest in peace, Marshawn Nealon, gone too soon. I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you guys for listening. I will be back. This will be a more permanent thing with me. I will start doing more as I have more time, as my life has slowed down now. I will do this more. If you guys want to hear more from me, let me know in the comments. This has been Culture Uncut with your host, Jason Spears.